Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the NASCAR 1-Up Retro Cup Series, round number 28 of 40. We're at the wonderful Bristol Motor Speedway for the Bass Pro Shops night race here at the Last Great Colosseum. Alongside me for this race is Duke Antzak, as always, and this race is going to be a slam-banging thrill fest because a lot of close quarters racing on a short, high-banked track with a lot of contact to be seen. I doubt many of these cars will escape clean shaven, so I'll ask you this. It's not about when the big crash will happen. It's not about if the big crash will happen. It's about when that big crash will happen.
Oh, absolutely. And we've got a lot of guys on the playoff bubble today. Only 3 races left until the playoffs begin. So it's going to be a lot of having to avoid being in big trouble early in this race for those guys and just making it to the finish and beating those competitors. So it's going to be a really good race, a lot of bumping and beating and banging at Bristol like always, and it's going to be a ton of fun.
Keeping a clean head is going to be the main strategy for this race, as a one-stop strategy will suit everyone, and with cautions prevalent at this track, you will probably be able to get your pit stop done under yellow. And the playoff drivers have spread themselves out in the starting lineup with qualifying taking place. We can give that to you. With Nick Ortiz in the 13th position in the playoff standing, starting 10th, King in the 18 on pole with Jack Halleck second. But Jeffrey Finguy will be starting 5th, and he is the last driver in right now. So, with the battle between Finguy, Gale, and Ortiz very much alive, and Gale starting all the way back in 24th, it's going to be interesting to see which driver can get the edge here at Bristol. And the pace car's already making its way on the pit road, leaving us in the hands of King in the 18 and Jack Halleck in the 4. The green flag is out flying, and we're underway here at the Bristol night race. And King in the 18's got a really good run through 1 and 2, and he's going to get a very big gap on Jack Halleck coming down the back straightaway for the first time. And into 3 and 4, King's going to get a very solid lead here.
Oh, yeah, we're already almost done with lap 1 here. They go by so fast, under 15 seconds each lap it is here. You're going to want to stay on the bottom during this race because the bottom is just the fastest way around. You don't really get that launch off of the corner when you don't have much grip, except the 72 almost proved me wrong right there. But you want to get to the bottom.
There was a problem with the 81 of Lane Sanders. He did not make the start of the race. He's still on pit road as the cars are cycling through. There he is. Lane Sanders is now on track. He is now 3 laps down, starting his first lap of the race. I'm curious as to what happened to Lane Sanders' car. Maybe was it a tire going down, or was it like a mechanical failure that caused him to struggle this much out of the gate? But right now, Jeffrey Finguy's made his way up to 4th. That's going to help him big in the playoff battle as Martin and Mashburn go side by side for 6th.
Yeah, for sure. The playoff battle right now, Finguy's got a huge advantage because of that starting position that he had. He was one of the highest starters of those guys that are right on the bubble. So it's going to be interesting to see if he starts to push in this race to try to get to the lead, or if he's going to just hang back and hopefully survive to the end of it.
And with King holding a solid lead over Halleck and Hutchinson now in 3rd place, Finguy in 4th, Paul McKinney in 5th. Nick Ortiz is the first car on the outside looking in, and he's also having a solid run in 8th place. And with Stephen Gale starting all the way back in 24th, this is going to be a good opportunity for Nick Ortiz to leapfrog Gale and get into the top 12.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's setting some good laps right now. He's running a little bit lower than those guys ahead of him, so he's really able to get a lot of speed through the middle of the corners. You know, in this track, you want to move people up out of the way. That's the best way to pass. So you got to get right up under him, and that's all you got to do. We got some lap traffic here. That 81 car is falling back to the leader. I wonder if King is going to struggle getting by him because the 81 car, you think, has actually fresher tires than the 18, so he might be running about the same speed.
Yes, with Lane Sanders missing the start, he's now on the tail end of being 3 laps down. But he's still 2 laps down now, and with King not really posing a challenge to lap him just yet. Everything looks good as we've got trouble on the back straightaway. We've got a bit of an accident, and it looks as though it was the 95 of Arthur Xavier that brought this out. So the yellow flag is out for the first time today on lap 12. You see all the cars slowing down to catch up to the pace car. So you see Xavier, he started fairly high, but he dropped. He's now all the way at the back, so that's why I'm assuming it was caused by the 95. It could have been actually either the 95 or the 60 of Cody Goforth. Actually, he started fairly high, but now he's at the tail end of the field, as you can see. So, regardless, I'm pretty sure it was a blue car. So we'll take you to the replay as soon as we can get one of what took place on this accident. So you see the 95 of Xavier going into the corner with Chris Maley right on his bumper. Is he going to get hooked by the 44? Yes, he will. Coming off of turn 2, he just got hooked, and fortunately, he did not hit the wall, so no damage to speak of on the 95. So he should be good to go with 4 fresh tires and a splash of gas. So he'll be good to go starting at the back. But tough way to start the race for Arthur Xavier, definitely.
Yeah, he got real lucky right there to not have a lot more damage. When you get turned off of that corner like that, it's really easy to smash it into the inside wall. So good on him for saving it, and he's going to start in the back, but he'll keep on trucking.
And hopefully, with a single file restart, we'll be able to keep things a little cleaner next time around. So we have King in the 18 is out front, Jack Halleck in second, Justin Hutchinson, Jeffrey Finguy, and Paul McKinney in the top 5. Then J.D. Martin in 6th, Miles Mashburn in 7th, Nick Ortiz in the 75 and 9th, and then Jordan Presto in the 66, rounding out the top 10. And we should be getting the 1-to-go signal this time. And yes, the lights are out on the pace car, so we'll be going green this time by. We'll taking the green flag at lap 17. And we've already gone fair ways into this race, but we've still got plenty of racing action left to go.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what these guys who are starting behind King can do on this restart. You know, they've got a lot of room on either side of the racetrack. So we'll just see. Everybody's on used tires at this point. They're starting on hot ones. There's the 81 coming up. He's going to start on the inside row here.
Yes, as the lap cars should. They're going to start on the inside line. King gets a good jump, but Lane Sanders is going to stay with him on the inside lane. Can he get one of his laps back the hard way? As Halleck slides wide, and that's going to allow Justin Hutchinson and Jeffrey Finguy to get underneath him. But Lane Sanders is getting one of his laps back the hard way. He's down. He's back to 2 laps down. A very solid effort from Lane Sanders. I think he's actually only back to 1 lap down now. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Despite missing the start of this race, Lane Sanders is now only 1 lap down. A great run by this 81 car to get ahead of the leader like that.
Yeah, he got a huge break with that yellow right there. Now he's just got to stay ahead of the 18 and pray for another one. I was going to say that the 18 got really, really lucky that Hutchinson wasn't able to stay behind that 81 on the bottom, because King really would have suffered if he is stuck on the outside lane. That would have been really frustrating for our leader, but he was able to remain the leader and keep on going.
Speaking of suffering, Jack Halleck in the 4 has been suffering on this restart. He restarted 2nd, now he's all the way back to 7th behind J.D. Martin in the 26, and now he's got the 75 all over his back bumper in that patriotic looking 75. Oh, and we've got more trouble.
Oh, man, and the 81 has got another huge break.
Yes, and it looks like Cal Farrell was the unlucky one this time around. In the 96 as the caution flag comes out. Thankfully, we don't have a 97 car in the field in case, because we've had first the 95 go around, now the 96 has gone around. So hopefully it'll stop here with numerically sequenced cars spinning around here at Bristol Motor Speedway. But still a tough break for Cal Farrell. Was having a rough night anyway. And it looks like Cody Goforth also had a spot of trouble. Maybe they're connected in some way. But we'll see what happened to Cody Goforth as soon as the replay becomes available, and Cal Farrell. So, we're under a yellow flag condition here at Bristol on lap 22. So you see Cody Goforth on the inside. Is this going to be the exact same thing that happened with earlier? Yes, Sam Donato hooks him. And once again, he does a very nice job staying off the wall. So really... very nice job of staying off the wall. So really, Cal Farrell had nothing to do with it. It was just Cody Goforth going around. So forget what I said about some numerically sequenced cars, because this is the 60 of Cody Goforth going around. But thankfully, it was only a single car incident, and again, no damage. So we've got all 42 cars still running, 41 of which are on the lead lap. Actually 40 with Cal Farrell coming out of the pits. He is now 2 laps down. But with Lane Sanders only 1 down, he could actually get his laps back and get back on the lead lap on this restart if he gets another good restart the way he did before.
Yeah, that would be a really impressive break, but you got to remember these leaders, they don't want to be stuck on that outside lane, so we'll see what King is able to do, if he's going to maybe let the 81 go and sneak in behind him before the 28 gets there. We'll see how it goes. We got 1 to go on the pace car before we get this restart here, so the 81 should show up in the picture pretty soon.
But keep in mind that the 96 of Cal Farrell will also be there, and that will also hold up Justin Hutchinson as well. That might give Jeffrey Finguy the edge in 3rd place. And look at Paul McKinney in 4th. He has not made a lot of races lately, and this could be a really good chance for him to shine and prove his talents as Farrell and Sanders line up on the inside. The pace car is going to pull off, and we're getting ready to restart this thing.
This will be really interesting to see. King gets a huge jump on them. He's going to be able to get down to the bottom immediately.
Yeah, that he will, but be careful because Farrell and Sanders are going to be holding up the 2nd place and 3rd place cars. You can see Hutchinson has to go wide to avoid Sanders and Farrell, but now look at McKinney on the inside with Nick Ortiz going through. Now Finguy and Hutchinson are stuck on the outside. Now look at McKinney, Martin, and Ortiz are on the inside, and they're probably going to be 2nd, 3rd, and 4th when this is all said and done.
Yeah, that 34 car is dangerous when he makes the races for sure. He's working on 2nd place right here, but this is...
So keep in mind, this is only the battle for 2nd, as King now has a 1.7-second lead over McKinney and Ortiz, 2nd and 3rd. Ortiz really needs a strong run like this in order to launch himself back into the playoffs. And with Jeffrey Finguy now back in 9th, he should gain points on him as well. This is going to be an interesting battle between the 91, the 52, and the 92 for this final playoff spot. It's going to come down right to the wire at Phoenix, I can imagine.
Yeah, for sure. He's packing on the pressure up there, but here's the 51 trying to make a move on the 96.
And Hunter just came out of the pit. Stephen Hunter having a sluggish last few races, and this is a continuance of that. He is now 3 laps down in the 51. The points leader having a very off day here this evening. But right now, King in the 18's got everything covered. He's got a 2-second lead, which is an eternity here at Bristol. And with that being said, he's got a very handy lead over McKinney and Ortiz, neither of whom are posing too much of a challenge to him. His gap is growing even further.
Yeah, he's got a really good gap of 3 cars between him and 2nd place right now. He's going to just need to build up this gap for a while until he catches lap traffic, and hopefully he can slice through the lap traffic pretty well without allowing everybody behind to catch up, because that's going to be the biggest challenge at this point if the race goes green from here.
And after finishing 2nd in Brazil, the last thing King wanted on his season was a win. He definitely wants one, and he's in very good position to take one here this evening. Even though we're only 36 laps in, he's got a very good chance of taking the win here, as McKinney and Ortiz are going to try and find a way around Stephen Hunter, the lap car, to try and get by and hopefully close in on King. But right now they're 2.7 seconds off the lead. That's going to be a big challenge trying to get back around.
Yeah, they're absolutely being held up right now by that 51 car, but there's just nowhere to go. I mean, you've only got the 1 lane on the bottom around this place, and the 34 is moving up a little bit, searching, but it's not really working out. They need to get by that 51 car to start tracking down the 18.
Absolutely, because that gap is only growing further and further there. It's now 3 seconds, the gap between King and McKinney, and now Jack Halleck's going to work around J.D. Martin, try and take 4th away.
Yeah, he tried for a second there. I'm not sure what happened. He lost a lot of momentum. The 91, these guys really just need to work together right now to get by that 51, who is kind of pulling away. I don't know what's going on here, but they are letting King drive away from the whole field here. It's going to be tough. Oh, they're really high up on the track right then.
And you can see in front of a packed house here at Bristol. The fans love seeing these high banked action with these stock cars going around, and with Bristol always providing such an entertaining race. You can see McKinney and Ortiz battling for 2nd, and now King is starting to close in on the back half of the field. So lap traffic going to be a big factor in the outcome of this race, because King is closing in on the last place runners of this race.
Yeah, so the 81 is right there, and we have to remember that he is a lap down, but he has got a fire underneath his seat right now because he knows he can get his lap back. He did it before. He wants to do it again, so we're going to see how aggressive he is once the 18 catches this lap traffic here. He's already there.
Yep,
we're going to
caught
see
up to Xavier and McDonald in the 12 with the right side damage on his car, but you can see Xavier gives King the inside. He doesn't want to pose too much of a challenge, but McDonald and Onjack ahead of him are side by side. Neither of them wants to give up, as you see King working underneath Peter Onjack in the 70. Going to try and get around. I just don't know if it's going to work this time by, but yes, he does clear Ortiz. And we've got trouble. Arthur Xavier and Lane Sanders, and Xavier's upside down. Xavier upside. McKinney's involved. Martin's involved. Hutchinson's involved.
Oh my goodness.
And Jeffrey Finguy is out of the race. Jeffrey Finguy, the 12th place driver in points. Daniel Bouchard, Henry Thomas. Look at all these cars that are in this wreck. The 75's out of the race now. And look at Jeffrey Finguy. His race is over. This is the opposite of what he wanted. His playoff hopes have just taken a severe hit. And Jeffrey Finguy is now out of this race at lap 47. His playoff hopes have taken a very severe hit, and I'm not sure they'll be able to recover.
Oh, what a shame. I mean, everybody started piling in after they slid back up into the corner. There's just nowhere to go when there's a crash like that on this track. I cannot believe he started flipping on the straight or on the corner right then. This is gonna have to take a lot of replays to analyze everything that just happened right there.
As Jeffrey Finguy pulls into his pit and retire from the race, Justin Hutchinson will do the same. What a shame for all cars involved, because Hutchinson and Finguy were above the playoff bubble, but now you can see all the leaders are on pit road. This will be their only stop of the race to try to get their pit stops in under yellow. You can see a lot of backed up cars here in the pit lane. Gale having a bit of damage. He's on the playoff bubble. Jeff Bolton with a lot of damage. Miles Mashburn in the pits from 4th position. Man, oh man, what an impact this has been. So it starts with Xavier and Farrell side by side, and looking back at Sanders, it's going to be the exact same story, 3rd chapter, as he just piles into the inside wall and just tips over onto his side. And McKinney just rode under him, and the 75 gets hit, Finguy gets hit, Presto and the 3 gets involved, Daniel Bouchard, Chris Maley, Stephen Gale, Jack Porkins, all of the playoff bubble drivers have been involved in this crash to some degree. So the playoffs are going to be shaken up extremely by this. The only one who seems to have made it through was Bobo Jones in the 13. Who after that 25-point penalty in Rio is now on the outside looking in after being solidly in this whole time. But all things considered now is J.D. Martin's now out of the race. And the lights are out on the pace car, so we'll be going green this time. King is still your leader with Jack Halleck 2nd. Nick Ortiz 3rd. Bobo Jones, as we said, in 4th place. Jordan Presto looks like he will be in 5th. As Martin, Finguy, Hutchinson, McKinney, Xavier, and the 75 have all been knocked out of the race in this one crash. So this is going to be a big day for Bobo Jones if he can capitalize as the field gets ready to go green, but this is going to shake up the playoff field a ton.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and this is going to be a crazy restart. All of our lead lap cars are stuck on the outside with a huge line of guys 1 lap down below them. Yeah,
it was all stacked up by that last yellow flag. So now Keon Daly, Seth Taylor, Brandon Beal are all lapped down trying to get their laps back. Now, Daly has gotten his lap back. Taylor's going to try and do the same. And Stephen Hunter's gotten one of his laps back. And so Taylor and Beal are just hoping for a quick yellow to try and get their laps back. But all things considered, King just really needs to get on the bottom lane. The good news for him is that Halleck and Ortiz are all stuck on the outside as well. Yeah. The first car in the among the leaders that is on the bottom is Miles Mashburn in the 72, and Alexa Lutchin and Chris Maley actually in the 44. So there's a big train of cars on the inside trying to make their way around Ortiz and Jones, including Ryan Soper in the 84. He started all the way back in 14th. So it's a good effort from him to get all the way up there. But now, looking back forward, you can see King has cleared Herman, and now he's got a big lead over Jack Halleck as we complete lap 56.
Yeah, that's exactly what King wanted to do. He wanted to get to the bottom there and just kind of stay in the train without being on the outside. The Ford has a little bit of damage. Oh, man, really loose off of the corner right there. But he's still struggling to get to the bottom lane. All these guys below him just not letting him in. So,
and now, because Stephen Gale definitely wants his lap back if he's going to have any hope of getting back into this playoff fight. And Miles Mashburn just wants second place from Jack Halleck, and it looks like he's going to make the move. And Mashburn will clear Halleck off of 4, and he will take second. And now Halleck's going to have to try and get back to the bottom. It doesn't look like it's going to work because Chris Maley is right there.
Yeah, that's... He got there now. He got there down there now, but look, he's already 2.5 seconds back almost. He gained a little bit of time right there, but you know, it's a lot of gap, a lot of buffer cars between them. 3 wide is not going to work for very long here.
That is why Henry Thomas wisely backed out, and he remains in 10th. Nick Ortiz up to 9th. Sam Donato's a lap down, of course, as is Peter Onjak in the 70. But you got a mix of lead lap and lapped cars in this field, and it's hard to tell who's where, but we'll do our best to keep tabs on that as a battle for 9th is ensuing between Thomas and Ortiz.
Yeah, Ortiz needs to be careful to not have any more troubles today. He's got to try to capitalize on a lot of people being out of this thing, so he doesn't want to get in any precarious situations where he can crash.
And he's clear of Ace in the 24 to cement himself in 10th position. So a good run from him as we make our way back up through the field. Jack Halleck in 3rd, trying to hold off Chris Maley and Ryan Soper behind him, as Jack Halleck's had a bit of an average season. He almost won Pikes Peak back in race number 5 in a duel with Henry Thomas that Thomas eventually won. But Halleck's having a very good run, possibly the best run we've seen him perform since that race. But right now, it's all King and all in the top positions here at Bristol.
Yeah, this is a really interesting race that's forming up here. The 72 is, well, not anymore. I was going to say he's gaining a little bit of time on the 18. Of course, they switched it over to the fastest lap there. But, you know, the 18, he's going to start getting into some lap traffic here. I mean, he's already in it with those guys that were next to him, but they're eventually going to catch the back of the field. And the last time they caught the back of the field, we saw a big crash. So, you know, anything can happen in this thing still. It's far from over.
And despite Stephen Hunter being 2 laps down, he actually does hold the fastest lap in a race right now. So good speed in that 51, even if he's running at the back. But right now, it's all King right now, and he's leading this race very handily from Miles Mashburn, but that gap is closing a small amount. It's 2.3 seconds now. Mashburn's closing the gap ever so slightly with each passing lap, and he's got Jack Halleck to help him along as they're working to try and get past Stephen Gale, but Gale's starting to pull away a little bit, trying to get his lap back.
Yeah, these guys are all going to fight really hard to get their laps back, I believe. I mean, if there's another caution, and we've seen plenty in this race so far, so if there's another caution, they definitely want to be on the good side of that.
Absolutely, and the gap's closed again to 1.2 seconds now. So Mashburn and Halleck are starting to close in a little bit, with Maley and Soper right behind them. A 4-car train of lead lap cars trying to chase down King in the 18. The gap's closed again. It's just down to a second. But as King is starting to close in on some lap traffic, and Gale has actually caught King in the 18 to try and get his lap back. So it'll be interesting to see if Gale can do that, and in addition, if these guys can catch him, because the gap's down to under a second.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. If Gale can get to the bottom of King, that is going to be huge for Mashburn and these guys behind, because they're going to be able to follow Stephen Gale underneath, and then King is going to be left out to dry on the outside. So,
yes, although Mashburn might not need it because he's already on the back of Gale right there. You can see the gap is very close now. It's down to just under half a second, 0.3 of a second now. Mashburn's closing in at a very high rate of speed because look at the traffic King's in.
Yeah, he has got quite the car underneath him right now. He's got to try to get underneath that Stephen Gale, not going to happen this time. He's packing on the pressure, though, so, he's just waiting to see what'll happen here. There's a lot of racing left. There's a lot of lap cars to be passed, and slicing through that field is not the easiest thing ever, so it's going to be really interesting to see the 72, how he tries to get around the 18. Is he going to use the bumper? I don't know. We're going to have to see.
Because there's still 50 laps to go in this race, so anything can happen in the latter stages. However, with Miles Mashburn closing in on King in the 18, and there's plenty of lap traffic ahead, they just need to get underneath him, and I think they're about to do it right here. Right there, King washed up, and Gale's going to get by, and that's going to allow Mashburn to get right up underneath the 18. Almost 3 wide, but they wisely back out of that side by side for the lead going into 3, and it looks like Mashburn is going to take it. Mashburn is clear of King, and now Jack Halleck is going to make a move on King. King's stuck on the outside with nowhere to go.
Yep, and that's exactly what King did not want to happen. He's going to be stuck out there because, the 44 is going to try to help him out now. They're 2 by 2. King got really loose, lost a lot of momentum, and here comes Bobo Jones even to pass him, putting him in the 3rd place. That's a really good run for the 13, considering the situation.
Considering he had a 25-point penalty going into this race, he needs all the points he can get to try and bounce back into playoff contention. And now the 84 is past the 18 of King, and now Jordan Presto is going to try and work his way past. A lot of cars have now gotten past the 18 of King, and he's just dropping like a rock on that outside lane.
It's amazing. He has dominated this race up to this point, and then as soon as he gets to the outside, there's no more forward progression. It's just try to find a hole.
There's 3-1! Trouble in the back.
In front of King.
Jeff Bolton. King made it through, but Jeff Bolton did not. He's into the wall, and it looks like one other car got tangled up with it. There it is. Last week's winner, Blair in the 69, is out of this race after getting tangled up with Jeff Bolton in the 38, the Brands Hatch winner. The last 2 winners of this series have both been involved in the same accident, and the caution flag is out.
Oh my goodness.
Tough break for both cars. Jeff Bolton, the Brands Hatch winner, now out of this race. Just like that. So Bolton's on the high side of 3 wide. You just don't want that, and then Presto and Taylor just get into him, and he just slams up into the outside wall, gets hit by Melee, and it looks like everybody's going to be good to avoid him, except Blair in the 69, who just tags him in the rear. Nowhere for her to go, and just like that, that's both their races done.
There were a lot of people that really sneaked through there that probably should have been involved. But
yeah. Ricky Freeman Jr. in particular had a very close shave as Chris Maley heads into the pits to repair the damage to his number 44 Samsung Dodge. But right now, and this is our live shot, and he stalled it on the exit of pit road.
Oh. Well, that's not very good.
And he looks like he's gotten it refired now to rejoin the tail end of the field, so doesn't look like anything serious, but he just stalled it a little bit on exit. So Chris Maley will rejoin the tail end of the field, but right now it's Miles Mashburn out front. And with that being said, Miles Mashburn holding the lead with Jack Halleck in 2nd. And it looks like, are we going to have one to go? Not yet. The pace car still got its lights on, so we have enough time to cover the top 10 in this race. We have Miles Mashburn leading. We have Jack Halleck in 2nd place. Bobo Jones 3rd. Ryan Sober in 4th place from 14th on the grid is a very impressive run for him. Jordan Presto is still in 5th despite that contact with Jeff Bolton. Alexa Lutchen in 6th. King has dropped all the way back to 7th during that exchange. Nick Ortiz is in 8th place. Zachary Fitzwater from 39th on the grid is all the way up to 9th place. And Wyatt Dooling rounds out the top 10, and he started 30th. So big gains by the 59 and the 29 in this race as they're both in the top 10 as we have one to go till the restart.
Yeah, we're going to be able to see right here if Miles Mashburn has anything to give him when he's in clean air. We'll see if he can get that launch that King was able to get on the outside in the last couple restarts, because look at that big long line on the inside again of some lap cars. So it's going to be really interesting to see if these guys are able to pass those guys or see what happens with the 72, if he can maybe get a gap like King would
And if Mashburn can't, can Halleck and Jones capitalize on it as we take the restart? Mashburn gets a good launch. I don't think he's going to be good enough to clear Taylor, and now he's going to be stuck on the outside. Ooh, almost into the wall there on the restart.
Really pushing to get by. Still really got a shot here.
Because he's got a faster car than Seth Taylor, but Taylor's going to clear him. But Mashburn sends it in on the high side, trying to clear. And now Jones has made it to the inside of Jack Halleck for second. That's not what Miles Mashburn wanted to see.
Yeah, this could be big because Miles Mashburn is definitely going to be stuck on the outside. He's putting up a really, really good fight right now. But those guys behind him that are on the inside, they're not going to give him an inch when he's trying to get down in there. So
Bobo Jones on the inside gets around the lap car of Sam Donotto, but Mashburn's being backed up into Bobo Jones by the lap cars of Jack and Taylor. I think it's a matter of time before Bobo Jones gets clear.
There it is. Yeah, Bobo Jones is going to get up right next to him here. Now this is a battle for the lead, and Bobo Jones is just going to take it from him. Man, the 72 gets such a good run on the inside. Bobo Jones is on the apron.
And
what? There's the crash.
Big crash in the back, and the caution flag's back out again. Keon Daly is involved in this one. A heavy impact for the 79 of Keon Daly, so he will he should be able to continue with a bit of repair job done in the pits. However, this is a big break for Seth Taylor and Peter Onjak. They are going to get their laps back. Looks like Jake McMillan was involved. Ricky Freeman Jr. was involved. Cody Goforth, I think, again was involved in this one. A lot of cars are in this wreck, and we're closing in on the end of this race. We only have 30 laps to go. So Keon Daly is on the inside, working around Ricky Freeman Jr. I'm curious to see where this all starts. If it starts ahead of him, or it starts ahead of him. Wyatt Dooling was was doing so well. We were just talking about him, and then Jake McMillan gets a piece. Henry Thomas gets involved. Cody Goforth again. Man, Cody Goforth's not had a very good day here at Bristol, as Seth Taylor and Peter Onjak get their laps back, which is good news for them. But tough breaks for McMillan, Goforth, Daly, and several others that were involved in this race, especially Wyatt Dooling. He was up in the top 10. So here's where it starts. Dooling in the middle between Maley and Goforth, and it's just 3 wide off of 2 does not work.
Yeah, they just ran out of room to the high side, and then chaos ensued.
Absolutely, because with Daly having a lot of damage, his bid for winning is over, but he should be able to... Wow, that was a close shave for Onjak and for Taylor, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting... because Jones actually managed to get by Mashburn before the caution came out, so he will be the leader as Keon Daly retires from the race, but... Bobo Jones is the leader right now, ahead of Miles Mashburn, and with less than 30 to go, that could have been the move for the win. That will be a good move right there. Obviously, what happened is the 13 was just ahead at a timing line. Waiting to see. This is the backstretch here, so there's going to be another restart here, another line of cars on the bottom. Not as long this time, though, so hopefully maybe King in 6th can get underneath the 50 of Lutchen, and he can start making a charge back to the front, because we know he's got a fast car as the pace car's off, and we're getting ready to restart this thing. Oh, the 13 got a really good jump there. That is not what Miles Mashburn wanted to see, because the 13 is going to be able to drive away now that he's on the bottom. All those guys behind are going to pass these folks that are stuck on the outside behind those lappers. Yes, Sam Donotto is now clear of Miles Mashburn lane. Sanders is going to make a move, even minus a hood. That's fine because it's Bristol. He's going to be able to make a move under Miles Mashburn not for position, but for track position, and that's what really matters. As Alexa Lutchen's made her way to the inside of the 84, she's going to try and take 3rd away. Yeah, we've only got 25 laps to go in this race, so it's crunch time now. And Bobo Jones is securing a really good position going into the closing laps here with such a big gap over the second-place car. Remember, Bobo Jones riding a 26-race winless streak. He won the Daytona. Almost! There was almost a crash between Miles Mashburn and Cal Farrell, but They all managed to stay clear of it. However, that's just going to allow Bobo Jones to stretch his lead out by a full second on just that one lap alone. As I was saying, Bobo Jones won the Daytona 500, but has not won since. So he really wants to get another win to help boost him into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, that was a fantastic save by Miles Mashburn, but unfortunately, it puts him 2.5 seconds behind the leader. So it's going to be a hard road to climb here if he wants to have a shot at this win.
And if we're talking about candidates for drive, 3 wide, Cal Farrell wisely backs out of it.
Yep.
So, as I was saying, if we're looking for candidates for driver of the day, I'd give a nod to Zachary Fitzwater in the 59, who's gone from 39th all the way up to 5th. And how about look at this? Daniel Bouchard was in that heavy crash at lap 47, and now he is in the top 10, battling Kevin Carter for that ace spot.
Yeah, that absolutely. But you cannot ignore right now Bobo Jones, who is in the lead, rising to the occasion when it comes to crunch time with the playoffs and all that. So, it's going to be a good vote. We'll see after the race how that goes. But for now, we got to see how this thing finishes.
Nick Ortiz having a very solid run when his playoff rivals have been faltering. He started this race 4 points below the cut line, but as things run right now, he would be in the playoffs, as would Bobo Jones in the 13. So both, with Jeffrey Finguy and Stephen Gale both having difficulties, as well as Justin Hutchinson for that matter, Jones and Ortiz should both be above the cut line now, as we're approaching 20 laps to go.
Yeah, really, really good days for them. Solid runs for both of these cars, and of course the 13 is looking like he's going to exit Bristol with a win. But, I would not count out that 72 yet. We saw him drive down the King had a really fast car. He was dominating this race, and the 72 drove him down and drove by him. So we'll see what happens here with the 13, but right now it's not looking so good for the 72.
Yes, because with that lead is growing as we're inside of 15 laps to go. So all Bobo Jones has to do is navigate a clean and solid 15 or so laps, and he will have victory at Bristol. He'll have a nice sword to go with this Harley J. Earl trophy from Daytona to go into his trophy case. But right now, the focus is on Nick Ortiz in the playoff battle, because he is fighting with Ryan Silver and Zachary Fitzwater. That's a battle for third position.
Yeah, and those are just, all those positions mean points for that 91 car. So it's going to be interesting to see how aggressive he gets in these closing laps here. The 84 is starting to kind of drive away, but he's going to be stuck a little bit behind the 51. Of course, the 51 is not a slow car by any means. He's had some bad luck, but
remember, he's got the point for fastest lap still. So so no slouch behind the wheel of that 51. That's why he's won 3 races and is the points leader after 27 races. But right now, Nick Ortiz is trying to fight that 84 car, but he drifts wide a little bit going into one, and that's going to allow Fitzwater to get underneath him. And that's going to allow a whole train of cars, because there's Ace and there's Lutchen right behind him as well.
Yep.
But Lutchen drifts wide as well.
Man, it gets so tight off of the corners when you're running too wide. I mean, we've seen so many crashes when they're 3 wide and the 59. Oh, no. Ortiz is going to lose 2 with that situation. He got so loose. The 59 squeezed him up by the outside.
He might lose 3 because here comes Ace in the 24. Yep. Remember, Ace got his first ever top 10 at Brands Hatch, then blew the engine on lap 2 in Brazil. So he's really hoping for a bounce back to previous form to finish in the top 10 once again here at Bristol.
Oh, man, can the 91 make it work on the outside?
He can.
We'll see, yeah.
He can.
That was really impressive.
He's clear of Ace in the 24. That's another candidate for a driver today right there in that 91 car. We've got a good battle for that going on. But right now, it's all Bobo Jones with 6 laps to go in this race. And 7 to go, coming to 6 to go. And he's got almost a 3-second lead over Miles Mashburn. He is starting to catch lap traffic, though. So that may play a factor in his lead, but he should be able to get by these guys fairly easily.
Yeah, he's going to be stuck behind the 44 here, but ahead of the 44. Oh, he's going to make an aggressive move. He snuck underneath of the 44, was really respectful after a late move.
Did Bobo Jones, and got by the 44. The next car he's going to get by is Stephen Gale, and that is going to be to put him 1 lap down. So I don't think Gale is going to be willing to give up that position readily as we're coming to 4 laps to go in this race. Bobo Jones has such a solid lead. He can just cruise home to his 2nd win of the season.
Yeah, if I were him, I would not be too aggressive. 44 just smacked the wall off the corner. I saw it in the back.
Is that enough to bring out a caution to end this race? No, it is not. We're still green with 3 laps to go, and Bobo Jones trying to get around Stephen Gale. He doesn't need to get around Stephen Gale, but it's a nice touch to polish off his perfect run here at Bristol. He hasn't always been at the front, but he's been up front when it matters. Now 2 laps to go.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. He's fighting with the 52. It's a risky battle to have right now with only coming to the white flag here, but it's good. It's all right. 2 wide behind him, and he's clean sailing to the finish now.
Bobo Jones won the season-opening Daytona 500, but the bigger headline for this season, a 25-point penalty for causing that crash in Rio, but he's going to wood and make up for it here. Bobo Jones wins the Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol for a resounding 2.3-second victory over Miles Mashburn in 2nd place. A very good run by the 13. Miles Mashburn, 2nd place will have to do for him. Ryan Soper having a good run in 3rd place. Zachary Fitzwater, the drive of the race from 39th to 4th at the end. Alexa Lutchen rounding out the top 5. Nick Ortiz fell back to 6th at the end. Ace in the 24 with his 2nd ever top 10. In 7th place, his career best finish. Daniel Bouchard with his 1st ever top 10 finish, finishing in 8th. Caden Atkins 9th, and Kevin Carter rounding out the top 10. We haven't spoken about Atkins or Carter much all day, but they've risen to the occasion and finished in the top 10. This has been a very exciting race at Bristol. We're bound to come back here next season, and I'm looking forward to that race as much as anyone else, because this race at Bristol was one for the ages.
Oh, absolutely. So exciting every step of the way. Great playoff battle going on. Now we've only got 2 races left, so what can those guys do, if anything, that were involved in problems today? We'll see. We'll see going into the stretch of the season here, but it was a really great race. Congratulations to Bobo Jones for finishing that one off, and yeah, it was really fun to watch.
Next up is Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway. That's going to be a can't-miss race for everyone involved. We hope you'll join us for that race as well. And for Duke Anzac and myself, we'll see you in Darlington. But for now, it's Bobo Jones shaking off a penalty with a big win here at Bristol.